Yo, what's up, YouTube land? We're doing Temple of the Ancients. This is a long temple.
Yeah, there's no way we're gonna do it all in one sitting.
So on my personal playthrough, I'm to the point where I'm doing the hard mode run through. I'm just going in order because now I'm level 70 and have all the stuff you need. So I'm just starting with Chapter 1 and then going from there. That's pretty much all I need to do now at this point. That and the Chadley things, but...
Are you at party level 10? You did all the side
yes,
quests?
party level 10, yep. So, honestly, for the Chadley stuff, I know it's going to be difficult, but I'm just going to look up, like, tutorials for each really hard one.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I did that too, for stuff that I struggled on.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna. I mean, there's really not that many for like the legendary mode, where there's like 7 or whatever. So whatever the consensus best materia and party combination, that's just what I'm gonna do.
The most tough things that you really have to rethink how to play the game entirely is the legendary bouts, which is obviously the hardest stuff, but the only legendary bouts are the solo character ones. And those are just weird. Like, you just have to think about, like, playing as Barrett by yourself for 5 rounds in a row. It is just... You have to switch your brain into, like, a weird mode. Barrett was the hardest one for me, for sure.
Barrett, okay.
Barrett has to fight... do you know that, that Adamantoy's turtle that, like... Once it gets angry, starts shooting, like, fireballs at you, and it doesn't stop, and it starts rampaging?
Yes, I hate that one.
You have to fight that thing by yourself as Barrett.
Wow.
On legendary bout is like they up the stats and the HP more than like even hard mode. So it is. That was the one thing that was the hardest for me.
It's probably just constantly buffing and healing.
And if the fireballs are actually fire elemental, it'd be easy because you could just do fire elemental on your armor slot. But it's like neutral damage, like non-elemental, which makes it so much harder. I don't know why they're not fire elemental.
That is weird.
And then the 2 hardest ones are the Cloud and Zack legendary bout, and then the Sephiroth one with Cloud. But magic build Cloud is really, really good, and you can pretty much solo them just with Cloud if you want to.
Wow.
But Sephiroth is super broken, and Zack is good, but he has such a steep learning curve.
Yeah, I mean, I'm at the point where, you know, it's almost August, and I just want to be done with this game, so whatever the way to brute force it the best, like, I'll do this Brumal form thing once I get Yuffie in hard mode, and I do not care at all.
Yeah, good luck doing it without doing this.
Well, there we go. Yeah, so far in
Oh, I don't have to fight everything.
So far in Chapter 1, obviously you do not have Yuffie, you just have Cloud and Sephiroth, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I see, like, your average enemy takes, like, hits me once and it's like 600 HP, and I only have, like, 5,000 something, so I'm like, well.
Yeah, and the first boss you have to do, Spenser was, like, just got BTFO by the Midgar Zalem.
I did.
But the Midgar Zalem is, like, one of the hardest fights in the... It's, like, the hardest fight of the first half of this game, and it's the first one you have to do. It's pretty crazy.
I guess, I don't know if it counts that, like, Materia Keeper in Chapter 1. I don't know if that's rather easy on hard mode. I haven't really had a chance to go too far into, but it probably not, considering you don't super remember it.
I wouldn't say so. One thing you can do with Sephiroth, if you're, like, struggling at all, and this applies to the Legendary Bout too, but if you have to dodge with Sephiroth, and then I think you keep spamming triangle, and he'll do this... I think you dodge and then press triangle, and you kept doing that, so you just circle, triangle. And he'll do this circle slash that also builds up his limit break bar without, like, you don't have to do anything, he just builds up your the bar. And you can limit break, like, every, like, 15 seconds. Now, Sephiroth isn't, like, super broken because his limit break actually doesn't do, like, that much damage. But it is really good, because when you're using a limit break, you're completely invulnerable, and you hard stun everything.
I like it. And then once I beat all the hard mode chapters, I know I have all of the manuscripts except for the ones that you get for the hard mode chapters, so that'll do that. So I hope in the next game that the sphere grid type thing they do for the manuscripts and the SPUs, I hope it's a little more cool.
I thought it was good in the first game, but I felt like the second game, this game, is just way worse. It's so much more complicated. I think they tried to, like, combine... Because in the first game, you had, like, character, like, sphere grids for each weapon.
No!
Which is a little annoying, but I felt like it was just so much more intuitive and simple in the first game.
Yeah, I could definitely... I don't know, it's just... It's something I constantly forgot about, to be honest with you, and then they also made that, like, Magata books completely unnecessary, because that was the place that they're like, you can use your SP points here, or whatever. But then you can just use it, like, constantly throughout the game. I'm
yeah,
like, okay.
I feel as if they did that just for... Because, like, it's a Final Fantasy game, you have to have shops.
Yeah.
More than just, like, equipment shops, but it's completely unnecessary.
Right. I do like how essentially every human enemy in this game's weakness is fire. It makes a lot of sense.
They're pretty consistent about it.
Yeah.
Humans are weak to fire. Monsters are generally weak to ice. Mechs are weak to electric.
Yep.
And then flying monsters are weak to wind.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty consistent the entire way through. There's weird ones, like I know that, like, motorcycle mech is weak to fire for some reason. That's, like, only one that I can think of.
Oh, and flying is, like, always arrow. Weak to arrow.
Yeah.
So, it makes sense. I noticed on hard mode, it's just, like, if I get to, a boss or a harder enemy, and I don't have its weakness materia equipped, I just restart battle, equip that to the one that's linked to magnify, and then it's just like, GG's.
Yeah, weaknesses are like everything.
Yep. If you do, okay, so if I have 2 linked materia slots, right, and say I want fire, if I put fire and magnify and fire and MP absorb, does it do both things when I use it?
That's
it
what
does.
That's what
okay.
I've been. I'll show you my materia layout once this cutscene's over. But that's what I've been doing the literal entire game.
Yeah, I mean, having MP absorb is friggin' awesome. Swift cast took so long to to master, because I want to get all materias mastered. You don't get anything for it. There's no master materia, and there's no like boxes you have to check off, or hey, you have 100 out of 100 materia, you know. But I wanted to do it just because.
Yeah, and most of the super hardcore AP dump blue materia are all good. The only one that's really not that useful is the magic efficiency materia, which cuts MP costs, because MP absorb is so broken in this game.
Right. Yeah, even at the level I am, I wasn't even using Faraga. I was just using Fyra, and I was like pretty much keeping my level of MP, if not, you know, getting pretty close to it. So I was like, yeah, MP absorb is definitely the way to go.
Yeah, so just on Eris alone, I have 5 of fire.
Oh.
I have fire, HP absorb, MP absorb, swift cast. Also, if you do fire and ice, it applies to both. So if you do fire or ice, then it'll be
nice.
But it won't apply all the
right.
fire material just to fire. Magic focus, magnify. So yeah,
Magnify's awesome.
Going really min-max, all I have on her is, if you don't know, auto-unique ability materia on Eris is really good, because if you shoulder command her to use a fire or a magic spell, she'll automatically warp back to your arcane wand, so she'll do double magic without you having to do anything. That's pretty much the only good character for this materia, and then first strike it to be boost. But like, this is like the perfect setup just for crazy magic damage.
I dig it. And then what if the enemy is not weak to fire, then you just change it to like ice or whatever.
Just change it to whatever.
Yeah.
I do notice that I usually the de facto one is I hate the controls of this. A really safe one is just arrow. In fact, when you do the Zack and Cloud legendary bout in the Sephiroth one, you do arrow magic build Cloud, because that's good against Titan and it's neutral damage against everything.
I mean, especially when you have HP and MP absorb and magnify, it doesn't really matter if they're weak to it, you know? As long as they don't have, like, a resistance to it.
Yes.
Yeah, that tortoise adamantium crazy guy that just does a bunch of fire spells. Probably my second least favorite standard enemy in the game.
It's
my
awful.
My least favorite is White Terror. I effing hate fighting that thing.
What is that? I forgot.
It's a wolf, but it just constantly shoots
yeah.
off fire.
It's the same thing where it's just like it has like a bunch of weird passive skills that keeps going.
Yeah.
Without you having to do anything.
Yeah, I kept getting BTFO'd by one of the Chadley, not the legendary ones, but I could beat everything else, and I would get to the White Terror. And this is before I played on easy mode on level 70. And it would just, like, I would do some pretty good damage to it, and all of a sudden it would just do this crazy fire attack where it would just constantly... It's like it was shooting fireworks out of it itself. I friggin' hate White Terror so much.
I forget if that's non-elemental or you can just do, just do a big circle. Wait, did I do it right?
That doesn't look like where you came from.
Okay. I wasn't paying attention. I think you might be able to do fire elemental on your armor slot. I think that works. I forget. There's one really crazy bomb that's like exclusive to Chadley Vera missions, and that one you have to do fire elemental on your armor slot or you just die.
That makes sense because I still have like just a couple enemies I have to assess. I'm trying to assess all the enemies too, just for a bonus thing. And I'm missing like 10, and I'm like, I know I missed Sephiroth for some reason. I just forgot to assess Sephiroth, but that means I have like 5 or 6 left, and I'm like, I bet these are Chadley exclusive in some way.
Man, thank God that's not actually a trophy or a.
Oh yeah, I just want to get everything checked off.
Yeah, even a a Johnny achievement.
Yeah, nope.
Because I definitely did not do that.
I don't know why, just early on in the game when I got assess, I was like, I'm going to assess... Oh, the reason was because when you assess a certain amount of enemies in a region, then Chadley stuff unlocks. So I'm like, if I saw a new enemy, I just assessed it.
I did enough to unlock both the levels for that, because you have to, but you don't have to do, like, all the bosses or anything like that.
I just did it for the, whatever, completion's sake of it. I figure I already put 1 billion hours into this game, I might as well just, like, 100% it.
I'm gonna focus. We're gonna take a little break on Rock Band, because I just want to finish this game. It's probably gonna take 2 more sittings, but I just want to move on.
Makes sense. Yeah, it's been a while, because then that'll be nice. We can,
play other games.
Yep.
I actually really want to do some sort of Zelda game. I'm thinking of Link Between Worlds if I can get the
3DS Emu or whatever.
Yeah, because I want to talk about Zelda and like Echoes of Wisdom is coming out soon. I just want to kind of talk about it for a second.
I gotta be honest, I have like not looked anything about it.
It's more that I just want to talk about the state of Zelda. Well, we'll get to it if we do that.
Is Echoes of Wisdom I literally haven't seen a single screenshot of it. I know it's Zelda, so it's gonna sell. It looks like Link's Awakening. Is it a 2D one or is it?
It's the same art style as Link's Awakening, the remake, but I'm pretty sure it's reusing the Link to the Past map. For some reason. That's sort of what I want to talk about.
Isn't that the third time then?
Yeah, it is.
I'm surprised because isn't the director of, I don't know his name, Zelda, it's not Miyamoto, he obviously doesn't direct him anymore, but He pretty much was saying they don't ever want to make 2D Zeldas anymore because they, like, don't sell.
His name is Al Numa, and, yeah, he has some very weird opinions on the Zelda series. And, like, the basic, like, conversation I want to have is that, objectively, Zelda is in a better place than it's ever been. It is... basically, Breath of the Wild saved the series because Skyward Sword sucked. No one liked it. It was excessively linear. The Zelda structure was just too hardcore. And he basically saved the franchise, but in doing so, he kind of killed Zelda. And, like, even the Echoes of Wisdom being, like, it looks super traditional, but, again, they're reusing the Link to the Past map. And then they're also, like, doing the Breath of the Wild, like, you can conjure items out of thin air, and, like, the puzzle solving is, like, doing janky stuff with items, and I don't know. It's like, yeah, Zelda is alive and is selling well, but where's my Zelda?
You know, that happens a lot. I'm sitting here trying to think of examples, and I'm sure they'll come to me, but, like, if a game series tries something new, and it does well, extremely well sales-wise, it doesn't matter who it is, if it's PlayStation, Ubisoft, Nintendo, whatever, they're going to strike while the iron's hot. And, like, a lot of times, like, a series can exist for a while, like Zelda, years and years, and they come out with one, Breath of the Wild, that's, like, much more open world and whatever, and it sells gangbusters. They're like, I can understand why they're like, we never want to go back to what it was, because
Zelda is now about
trillions.
Yeah, Zelda is now about Gmod physics puzzles and all this weird crap, and that's what sells. So that's what the series is now.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out some series that did that kind of... Oh, actually, yeah, I can think of one. I know that they have their problems, and I know they're extremely linear, but I like the old God of Wars. I like an 8 to 10 to 12 hour game that's, like, relatively linear, but has a pretty cool story and a bunch of big set pieces. And I don't like God of War 2018 or Ragnarok. I don't really care. I know a lot of people will be like, Kratos is emo or sad or whatever. I'm like, Kratos was a lot of things in the past, but for me, it's more of the gameplay difference. I don't want, like, a God of War game to be like, hey, did you do all these random things that are on the mini-map? It's like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want that to be part of it, so... But I doubt that God of War is going to go back to the point where it's like 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, again, God of War
that.
2017 basically saved the series because Ascension, like, it didn't flop, but it definitely no one cared about it.
It's the one I constantly forget exists.
God of War definitely should have ended with 3, but if they had to revive it, they did it with 2017. But now the new series is about, like, I don't know. Yeah, I agree. That's a good one.
And in a way, like, I understand. Like, if I'm
I mean, even Final Fantasy is a franchise. They basically can't make a turn-based one anymore.
No, yeah, you're right.
Although that's... all the Final Fantasies are very different. Like, even between, like, Rebirth and Final Fantasy 16, they're both, like, action games, but they are completely different in so many ways. So it's not exactly the same, but it is, like, the same general premise.
I bet if people actually liked Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, that they would probably go that route of being like, everything's open world now and da-da-da. But since people don't like them, I don't know what their plan is. I mean, there's no Pokemon game coming out this year for sure, and that's pretty interesting.
They're making that Legends, or I forget what it's called already. It's like based off of Gen 6. It's coming out next year.
But hey, I get it. You know, if I'm the head of it, and everyone's like, all the heads of the company are like, make us money. And I made it. I mean, how much more copies of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom? Like, obviously, those are number 1 and 2 all time in terms of Zelda. How much better did they sell than everything? In fact, I'm very curious. I'm gonna look it up. I guarantee it's millions and millions more.
I wasn't really paying attention, sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm trying to figure out what the best-selling Zelda games and how much they sold, and I know it's Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah, listen to this.
I think it's like Twilight Princess, and it's like not even 10 million.
Yeah, listen to this. Breath of the Wild, 33 million. Tears of the Kingdom, 20 million. See, that surprises me. I know Tears of the Kingdom's a late release Switch, but I thought it would be a little closer. But also the simple fact that Breath of the Wild had 7 years to sell on the Switch. Anyway, so 33 million, 20 million. The next closest is Twilight Princess at 8 million. That's literally 3 times as much. It's 4 times as much if you count Breath of the Wild. So, like, man, and, like, I think you go back, like, Legend of Zelda 1 on the NES, right? Like, there's copies of that everywhere. Everyone had it, right? 6 million copies. Yes, that's a lot, but that's 1/6 of what Breath of the Wild sold.
Yeah,
like, that's crazy.
Definitely the craziest thing is that the fact that I remember when Twilight Princess was like everywhere and everyone talked about it, and that version of Link was just everywhere for like 5 years in a row. And it's like came out for 2 systems, sold like 1/4 the amount of Breath of the Wild. And like Tears of the Kingdom sold like 20+ million. So clearly it's like, I don't know if saved the series, but I guess we're just kind of doing this topic right now. But Breath of the Wild, if you took away, you know, like Link and Zelda and Gorons and Naruto and just replaced it with anything else, and you released the game, you would have no idea it's a Zelda game.
No, I mean, I get it. I like the old Zelda games, and I have absolutely no interest in playing them. I just don't. And when I saw, not that I would have played Tears of the Kingdom, but when I saw people doing those, like, weird 3D puzzle things, like, it reminds me of, like, a Roblox game that I play with Ferris that's like, make your own things, and it's like, okay.
Obviously the new games have their fans, I'm not taking it away from them, but I played Tears of the Kingdom for less than 10 hours and I dropped it.
No, I definitely understand. But yeah, I will say, in terms of selling, Tears of the Kingdom over the past, 5 years easily, is definitely the game that we ordered the most copies of by far. It's like not even close. Yeah. I forget, how many copies did I have when it first, it was like 250, which for us, for a single store, to like get through a week or two is like insanity. It might have been more, it might have ended up being 300. It was minimum 250.
For example, I think Rebirth we bought 25 copies, and we had to sit on like.
It was 40 because I thought, oh, Remake sold pretty well. This will sell pretty well, and man, how long did we sit on those?
We finally got through all the copies, and
yeah.
It did not price drop, so it did sell.
Once in a while, I do the tactic, and I told Trev you can do this anytime, where like if someone brings up a used copy of a game that we have a bunch of new ones of, I'll be like, hey, I will sell you the new copy for the used price. Is that good? And no one's ever said no, obviously. I'll do that sometimes depending on the game. But yeah, that's the most we lost was that on a couple copies. But yeah, and that's 40 for a game this big with this much just everything going on with it, you know.
Just PS5 exclusives don't sell, and I don't know
No.
why.
I'm very curious. When
People buy PS5s and I guess they just play Fortnite or Apex or Call of Duty Warzone. I mean, there's so many free-to-play options. I guess that's what's cannibalizing retail sales. Just sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously super biased, but I'd rather pay $70 for a game where I'm like, cool, this is all I need. I mean, does FF7 Rebirth even have any DLC or like?
No.
It doesn't do any sort of microtransact,
I don't
whatever.
think so.
Right.
There's some annoying pre-order bonuses. Wait, no, Remake had pre-order bonuses.
Yeah.
I don't know about this game.
But, like, when Resident Evil 4 Remake came out, I think that was 60. I don't think that was 70. and I put a bajillion hours into it, and then the DLC Separate Way came out for $10, and I was like, yes. I was like, I way got my money's worth out of this. I would so rather do that than have a game that's like free, quote unquote, and then you don't realize 6 months later that you put $200 into it because of what have you. But that's just me. I know that a game like Fortnite can't count as sales, but I wonder if they have a total of how many times it's been downloaded, or how many like accounts have been on it. Like,
I just think the weirdest thing about Fortnite is and it's with a bunch of games now, but the fact that you have to buy a battle pass you have to basically pay them money to have the ability to grind. And it's just like, it's just the weirdest system that I just don't understand how it got popular. Because, like, you pay, like, $20 for a Fortnite Battle Pass. I have no idea how much it is.
that sounds right.
And then what you have to do to unlock everything in the Battle Pass is just play the game for 1 billion hours. It's like, why can't I just buy this stuff? Why do you make me play it for 1 billion hours until I get stuff? I just don't understand. It's the weirdest system I've ever heard of. Even gacha games are like, you know, incredibly predatory, awful value. The premium currency is ridiculously expensive. And, like, it's just a lottery if you get anything at all. But at least, like, you can just buy it and then just get it. I don't know. It's weird.
It is bizarre. I always wonder why Valve never gets any crap for essentially like starting like loot box kind of stuff and all that with the hats from Team Fortress 2. That is a company that, like, legitimately I rarely ever see people pish posh in any way.
Gotta load. Forgot to load this, so we're gonna a little back.
It's actually over.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's the basic thing is that Valve has a bunch of cultists because, you know, sunk costs with Steam, but also they pretty much always just only do cosmetics. Even though, like, they basically invented the modern day loot box. I mean, everyone thinks it's Overwatch, but it was definitely like
TF2.
TF2.
Yeah. The sunk cost fallacy is, like, really, honest to goodness, one of the toughest things as a human being to, like, overcome. We've all been there.
I mean, especially with Steam, like, if you move to another game launcher, you don't have any of your games. Like, all your games are locked to your Steam account forever. You can never resell them unless you just, like, literally just resell your entire account, which is against Steam terms of service if you get found out.
Yeah.
And it's brutal. Like, everyone hates Epic Game Stores because it's trying to compete with Steam. And it's just because, well, there are some, like, quality of life, like, consumer good stuff that Steam does better than Epic Game Store, but it really is just mostly, like, everyone has their games on their Steam account, and they don't want to switch over because they're going to lose everything. It is brutal.
I guarantee that there's people that have, like, thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars into their Steam account. And I mean, I say that as someone who has tens of thousands of dollars into his, like, game collection, like, physical game collection, so I am not one to cast the first stone, but still.
I think the big difference there is that you have your physical games and you can just play them whenever you want, and if you don't have internet, you can still play them. But, like, if anything happens to Valve, if they go bankrupt, or, I mean, it's doubtful.
Yeah.
But, like, if you ever want to go to anything else, if you ever want to have any sort of physical ownership of your game, you just have nothing.
Well, I think the going bankrupt thing is very unlikely, but, I mean,
if it's
what's probably more likely is them selling to another bigger company, like a Microsoft. I don't know. But there's definitely choices out there, and what if that company's like, we're changing everything? It's like, holy moly.
That's why, I mean, I have a lot of Steam games. I mean, I literally have a Steam Deck, so to anyone listening, I'm not anti-Valve or anti-digital. I'm kind of anti-digital, but I only buy games if they're, like, incredibly heavily discounted. Any digital game that's, like, more than $10, like, anything that's double digits, I'm usually just like, nah.
Yeah. Yeah, I probably have, like, 20 Steam games, and the average price I paid for them is probably $4 or $5. I mean, granted, a lot of them were those, like, $1 really crappy horror games, but still. That's half of the reason why I haven't played Alan Wake 2 yet. The first half was because it was digital only and it was still $70, and I was like, I do not feel like I get good value out of this. Sorry. And now I just have no interest in actually playing the game. So they essentially lost me at this point.
Spenser, or people that spend like retail $60-$70 on a digital game, it's like, I don't know how they justify it in their hearts.